And then the Route 1 Master Plan effort, the proposals for those were due today at 11 o'clock, so I expect to have a pile on my desk of proposals for that effort. That will be starting in July of 2018 this year, and we anticipate it being completed approximately December of 2019. The next project, 344, unless there are any questions
I've got a lot
on
of
that?
questions on this one.
Okay.
Just wait, let the questions happen on this one.
Okay.
So you just said that they're going to start when, and they're not going to finish until December
The
20?
proposals.
Oh, no, the end of, go ahead.
The proposals were due today at 11 o'clock, and so we expect a number of them to be submitted, and the project will most likely start July of this year, and we anticipated a 12 to 18-month process for that, so December of 2019 to complete it.
To complete the study.
To complete, right. This study will be a plan. To date, I've been asked questions about the previous RCLCO study. Why are we doing a study? This is a plan. So this is really, the others have been studies with recommendations, but they really don't have teeth. They've never been integrated as part of our general plan. So this is an opportunity to actually do a plan for Route 1, look at what's worked, what hasn't worked. Is it a good idea to continue on the path that we've gone down? The design guidelines for Route 1, my opinion, not all of those guidelines have worked maybe as well as they could have. And so we want to take a look at the design guidelines. Do we need to make any adjustments to those? And the other thing that we're going to be looking at, transportation enhancements. I just saw that yet another accident on Route 1 where somebody was killed. And so we want to take a look at...
When was that?
I'm sorry?
When was that? Or that was the other day?
I just got a...
Okay, the other day.
Yeah. Just got a text on that. So we're looking at safety, we're looking at transportation, we're looking at economic development, and we're looking at planning and urban design. The goal is really to look at, again, not to repeat myself, but I guess I will, what's worked and what hasn't worked and what kinds of things need to be amended. From a regulatory standpoint, the recommendations that come out of this planning effort will help guide the code rewrite process. We plan on hiring someone for the second phase of that soon, so this will inform that process as well.
So how long, so you expect that to happen after the study is complete in December?
I'm sorry, which one? The code rewrite?
Right.
So the code rewrite will begin this fall. We plan on having a consultant on board late this summer. One of the key things we want to do as the new council comes on board is to quickly brief them on a lot of land use, regulatory related issues. One of the key things is making sure that the code rewrite process moves forward quickly. So these will be done in tandem. So we plan on completing the Route 1 plan before the code is completed, so it will inform the code rewrite process.
Okay, when do you anticipate you would start implementing that plan?
Well, that will be one of the key sections is an implementation chapter. That implementation chapter will identify what types of projects should be initiated by the county, which ones should be initiated perhaps in partnership with either the private sector or with state agencies. One of the issues, obviously, is the ability to fund a lot of transportation improvements on the Route 1 corridor because it's a state road. So our plan is to have the state at the table as part of that process.
I got it, but what's your time frame for implementing any of the recommended changes?
Without knowing what the recommendations might be, it's kind of tough to say. But typically, for a plan like this, you have short, middle, and long range. Short term may be in the period of 2 to 5 years, something like that. Mid-range may
So
be.
2 to 5 after,
Well, after the plan is adopted.
so we're talking about at least 4 years before any revitalization is going to be done on Route 1? Or
No.
where else would that be? Where else is that in the budget?
I'm
Where
sorry.
else are the efforts to revitalize Route 1 in the budget?
Oh, well, it's the Southeast Infrastructure Improvement.
And does that one have money?
That's 344. Randy, I know that you've been involved with that one. The focus of that has really been the Carol Baldwin Institute
Okay.
within the
So I
corridor
see money
itself.
coming out of here, and a lot of money has come out of Route 1 revitalization over the last few years. And so I'm just trying to figure out what our time frame is and what we can tell constituents we have living in the Route 1 corridor about what our commitment is to US Route 1 area and what we're going to be doing either when this plan comes out or in the meantime, because it's in need of revitalization now.
Well, I guess I would say that Route 1 is revitalizing. There are a number of projects that have been implemented on the Route 1 corridor. I know that you've got one project that I know you can't discuss at this point. On the Route 1 corridor, it's a CEF that's looking to change the current uses from a...
Yeah, we're familiar with
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
And then, we continue to have projects come in on the Route 1 corridor that are basically taking what I'll call underutilized properties or
Right, so that's
Yeah.
what you're talking about what the development community will
Right.
put in. What is the county willing to put in? What is the county going to do
well,
to help the Route 1 corridor?
Yeah, well, Randy, do you mind talking about
'Cause all I've
the-
seen is money
the
coming out.
specifics?
Sure. Val had mentioned, in the interim here with before the plan, there are opportunities that are being identified, one of which that was discussed, the US 1 southbound at North Laurel Road to the county line. That's a sidewalk project. Projects like that's an example of projects, similar projects that would be identified in the interim period.
That one was
moving forward.
identified a long while ago, right?
It's still in process. There's acquisition that has been delaying
Okay.
the project, but nonetheless, that's a project that's been identified.
So we've had those funds?
I'm sorry?
So those are funds we had. I thought those were
Yeah.
coming through the state.
No, those are...
Originally, they were coming through the state. I remember when Mr. Lafferty was working on this project, and I thought was the state funds.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but this project would support those types of improvements.
So that's in this,
C0285, yeah. Another more interim step also Val mentioned was the safety audit that's just recently been conducted. Those are projects that could come forward prior to this study.
and the money for that would be in this project?
That's correct.
And you have sufficient funds to implement those now? Or they would be, I see Mr. Graham looking sideways at, like, maybe that you have some different information on that? Oh, okay, then we were just talking about the safety audit.
Mr. Graham is just happy to be here.
And back there. Okay,
Yeah, there's sufficient funding to support those efforts. If
so
that's-
what's left in that budget, in the budget?
There's roughly 1.3 million.
There is? There's 1.3 million after you take out, I'm not sure I understand that from the information we have in front
It's
of us.
1.3 million encumbered, or 2.6 million encumbered.
Right, and
through
after
there.
this budget removes
So-
funds
Yes.
from the US Route 1
Yeah,
corridor.
if you look back at the planning board version, it's actually the same as what 2017 is. I think that's a reporting error. It's not.
Which is a reporting error?
2.6. I think the 2.6 that you're seeing encumbered through 2018 is a reporting error.
So
That'd be
there's more?
1.376.
Correct.
We're bouncing around now.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say, what are we doing?
What are
Sounded
we
like a
doing?
lot to do with $86,000, but.
So,
Which
right,
number are you
so the real
referring to,
question was, so, Mr. Clay, you're saying that we're looking at the budget page, right, that tells us that at this particular point in time, $2.6 million have been either A, spent or encumbered through February 2018.
Correct.
Again, how much?
2.6 million.
No,
Correct.
He's saying it's not.
Yeah,
Correct.
correct. So
There's,
that's what I'm
if you
looking
look
at.
back at the planning board's version, it should match up with what you see in the number for February, through February 2017. There's a reporting error there.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that in fact, the difference there is what you have left in order to fund the things that you've been talking
Correct.
to us
I'm
about.
sorry, I just don't
Correct.
understand which is the reporting error. You're saying.
The
in-
2.6.
The 2.6 should read what?
It should be 1.3. Yeah,
Same as in 27.
correct.
So you didn't spend anything in FY18 on the Route 1 corridor?
The project that's been identified right now is that one sidewalk project that's been delayed for acquisition.
So there hasn't been any
If,
money spent on the Route 1 corridor through this project at least?
mainly what this was, in the text descriptions, what it shows is that this is waiting the master plan itself for identifying projects to implement.
So, and is the Washington Boulevard study the same thing as the
The
plan?
result, the outcome is going to be a plan. It will be similar to the plan that currently is being worked on for Ellicott City, the plan that was done for downtown Columbia. It would be integrated.
So it's going to be more than a
as-
study?
It will be a plan. It will be integrated as part of the general plan, so.
Should that be changed, I guess, in the description? Because that's a plan, not a study?
That could be changed, yes.
Okay.
When the report is done, we'll call it a plan.
Okay. Because it
But
will
then,
be.
you'll need funds in the out years to implement any of that.
Yeah, and it may not necessarily be the Department of Planning and Zoning that, needs to secure those funds. Again, I anticipate that the kinds of projects will involve the Department of Public Works and hopefully the state of Maryland as well.